Frieza vs. Megatron, a matchup I heavily dislike but knew it had to happen eventually. I just didn't think it had to happen so soon. Now that's not because of the characters, I know nothing about Megatron and Frieza is my favorite villain in all of media. The reason I dislike the matchup is because the connections are so lame. It's leaders of an army who hate their rival are alien warlords and their motivations are to conquer planets with brute force in order to accomplish their motivations. While I agree that this is true for Frieza, it doesn't seem like that is the case for Megatron, and even the summary before the analysis can't make this more interesting. It's just, when these two collide in the universe, it will tremble or whatever. And that's it. And let me make this clear right now. If anyone tries to annoy Nemesis Bloodrake about this, then I should recommend that you just get out of my life. Because I cannot stand people who personally annoy people about a matchup just to get on my nerves. Regardless, the debate part was pretty fun. I got to talk about how who really wins, and a majority said Megatron was going to win due to the antimatter shot. But people did get a little upset when Frieza won, and people disagree with that thought, which I will get into later. And yes, I did pop off when my boy got the W, but now the question remains, did I even like Frieza vs. Megatron? Oh, before I actually start, while I did actually scream when I saw Frieza win, I know people are gonna be really upset that Frieza won, and immediately think that the episode is so bad, and if that's why you dislike the episode, then that's just... Anyway, let's talk about the actual episode. Frieza's analysis is so much fun. Hearing them talk about my favorite villain ever and one of my favorite characters of all time brings me so much joy, and it helps that the analysis is really good too. For one, I love how they talk about him. It's like how Nem said about Bill's analysis. They don't talk about him like how cool he is or awesome he is, but they talk about him like he's a threat to the universe. Like he's such an evil person that the entire universe basically craps their pants. And I love that ending, man. Saving Black Frieza until the end makes sense, since Black Frieza doesn't have a lot to talk about, aside that he killed Gas and one-shot TY Goku and Yu Vegeta at the same time, but but who cares about that? And how they say that the Oracle Fish may have been talking about Frieza all along when he said that the universe's strongest is definitely coming. And how Frieza just said, yeah, you're not the strongest in the universe anymore, just by training for a long time. And that ending line is sick. The way Ben delivers Wiz's final line is just so raw. An actual amazing analysis that I enjoy every time. And there's no issue with the pacing either. When they talk about Golden Frieza, they compare him to Goku and then go into the universal scaling again. And hey, they even give it a new visual overhaul and it looks cool. When they talk about Ki, they give him the Ki attack that, traveled the universe in a few seconds. I did that in different portions. Why? When they talk about Planet Vegeta, they say that he blew up the planet. I do think that maybe they should have done universe scaling when they talk about Black Frieza, but I'm not that blind. Plus, it didn't matter anyway, so I can let it slide. Megatron's analysis I didn't love as much as Frieza's, but it's also really solid. I don't have as much to say on it, besides the cutaway gag, which isn't even a cutaway gag. It's just Wiz explaining the antimatter shot. Though Wiz's movement is distracting, and I don't understand the purpose of this cutaway, so I don't get it. Aside from that, Bill versus Discord is my favorite analysis this season, but this is a close second, on par with Vader versus Obito. Now, while we're on the topic of comparing those two episodes, before I talk about the fight, let's talk about the one and only Devil Artemis. This is his first fight he has animated with the Blender program. Devil Artemis on the Blender team, please. But anyways, this is also the first Dragon Ball episode he has animated on the show. The reason I bring this up is because Ben mentioned that if he had a theme for the season, it would probably be Passion Project. With Bill Cipher versus Discord, I'm pretty sure it's a Passion Project for the Death Metal crew. And Vader vs. Obito and Frieza vs. Megatron being a passion project for Devil Artemis. And you can tell he put his all in this one, and Vader vs. Obito, because these two are amazing with how they look. But I think Frieza vs. Megatron is better, with its visuals and then some. This is one of, if not the best looking 3D fight of the show. The only competition I can see for it is Gandalf vs. Dracula. I think, I'm going to say this right now, This fight rivals that of Bill Cipher versus Discord. Okay, look, it's not my fault that Death Bell had to give us three 10 out of 10 episodes back to back to back. But speaking on the visuals, oh boy, a lot of things in this fight look incredible. Frieza's attack, even his aura pop off. Megatron himself looks pretty sick, with the antimatter being a particular highlight. But on the audio side of things, boy do I have a lot. Voice acting, amazing. Martin Billany, Billany, Martin Billany, aka Lil Karibo, is flawless with his Frieza. Fitting that he's his voice actor in DBZ The Bridge. I mean, I expected nothing less, so there you go. Tom Schalke's Megatron also does pretty good. I wasn't too fond of it at first, but over time it grew on me, and I started to really like these. Might be the most spot-on performances we've ever gotten. Now time for the sound design. There aren't a lot of melee attacks, but the ones that do land feel so impactful. The planetary destruction in particular. I love the impact of the planet blowing up at the end, and the track. Oh my god, the track! Final Formers, my favorite track of the season. Fight me, I don't care. It goes so hard for no reason. Actually, it's Brennan on the Death Battle track. I actually don't know what I was expecting. But let's actually go over the fight. I'm gonna take this step by step. The start of the fight has Frieza coming to sell Megatron, which is basically the perfect setup. The dialogue exchange is perfectly in character for Frieza, and Megatron also gets a cool line. Now I wanted to make it clear that just because I've been mentioning Frieza a lot, that doesn't mean I think that this is X featuring Y thing. I don't think that this is Frieza featuring Megatron. Rather, I just love Frieza. Frieza transforms into his final form after letting himself get hit, only to be unfazed by it, which is such a Frieza thing to do. Megatron traps Frieza in the panic bubble and then punches him out of it, which I don't think that's how it works, but okay. This scuffle in between Frieza's death beam and Megatron's cannon are my least favorite part of the fight. Not because it's bad, but because it's a little confusing and maybe a bit too fast. But then we get Golden Frieza's transformation, which is my favorite part of the fight. Megatron firing his big boy cannon and then Frieza trying to neutralize it and letting himself get hit on purpose again to transform is so sick. And the transformation itself is amazing. Replicating Frieza's transformation like the one in the Tournament of Power, with the music getting all choir-esque, is incredibly cool, and the first thing he does is immediately try to nuke the planet. Frieza's death ball firing at Megatron who tries to send it back, but this time Frieza knows how to deal with it and sends the entire planet colliding into him, and the planet gets nuked anyway. We then get probably my favorite dialogue exchange in the fight. Frieza and Megatron are just done with each other at this point. They get a one neat dialogue exchange, Megatron in particular, with the I can't. Why the fuck am I doing this? I don't have a script in front of me. I'm just freestyling at this point. With the behold the mighty Lord Frieza, ruler of a dying planet, my planet. Where is your army? Where is your ship? It's just such a cool line, man. Frieza turned black out of nowhere. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm not particularly fond of Black Frieza. I love the form, but it's probably less impactful to me. That being said, Frieza just turning black out of nowhere is a little weird, but I like the concept of Frieza just being done with Megatron. And he's just so pissed off with him that he's just trying to end his entire life. We then get a fake out, which didn't get me, but I know it could probably get some people. The way that Frieza is just the death scream sounding like a death scream, and while someone could argue that the music goes on a bit too loudly, I don't really care. We then get a callback to Frieza's position in Namek, which I pretty much love. Frieza saying that Megatron is going to die by not anyone's hands, but his hands, his own, and he will die now. Megatron calling Frieza a fool because he knows how Frieza is after studying him all fight. It's just so good. And how helps that the death is pretty good. Megatron dies and the planet explodes. Frieza's last line is sick. We then get the conclusion, which I know people are gonna argue at the result being wrong and the conclusion being so bad and such a bad episode because Frieza won, and I don't care. This conclusion is not as bad as everyone says it is. Basically, they scale the powers, and Frieza is just too fast. Now, the thing that caught a little people off guard is how they did with the antimatter. They say that Frieza is too fast that it could uncover his entire body before he could react. Though I do think it's weird that they had this corner box saying that while yes, the antimatter is supposed to kill Frieza immediately if it touches him, Frieza has also resisted Hakai, or destruction energy, which also is supposed to destroy or completely wipe the person that's getting hit from existence immediately. Well, maybe not immediately, but close. And he's resisted it twice. So, yeah, get fucked. This is so bad. So, yeah, that was my very short review of Frieza vs. Megatron. And what did I think? I love this episode, man. I think that it has great choreography, excellent effects, beautiful sound design. This fight is just everything I could have wanted. Yeah, I no doubt. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. It's so good. This is my third favorite episode of all time. And ultimately, what comes down to it is that I do prefer Bill Cipher vs. Discord. Not because I really don't care about the characters. I love Frieza more than I love Bill Cipher or Discord. More or less, Bill Cipher vs. Discord really didn't have anything I could point out as negative. And Frieza vs. Megatron has one moment I can point out as not too great, and that's this little scuffle, obviously. But yeah, that was Frieza vs. Megatron, an incredible episode, and everything I could have wanted out of a Frieza fight. If I had to pick a disappointment of the season, this would be it. This would be my surprise. I said disappointment, didn't I? This would be my surprise of season 10. And I don't care what anybody says, I love this episode to death. And I have no doubt calling it one of my favorite episodes of all time. And it looks like season 8 is gonna get some competition and already getting dethroned as my favorite season of all time. So yeah, that was a review. Goodbye.